Bitcoin.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a new special report. Today I'm going to talk a little bit how I pick my altcoin investments and how I'm evaluating them and what to look for. So let's jump right in. So the first thing we should remember about altcoin investing is that it's pretty different from regular stocks, but also like the big names like Bitcoin. And although technically, of course, Ethereum is an altcoin, in this presentation I'm more focusing on the speculative altcoins that aren't a top one tier coin, how I would say. So for example, Ethereum I feel like is now in a basket of more safe investments, quote unquote safe, because it's still crypto and everything can still go to zero. But I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are now kind of like the safe havens of crypto, if there is anything like a safe haven. So altcoins of course are very speculative by nature, and it's very hard to make a 10x, a 100x, a 1000x with a coin that's already in the top 5 based on adoption and coin market cap. So I'm mostly talking about the coins that are in an early stage, how to find them, how to pick them up, where I get my information, and once I have some name or symbol, what I'm looking for in those altcoins to decide if this is a good potential investment. So one of the most important things is that I look at the phase we are in. In general, I mean the phase of the cycle. As you all know, we have this little information piece where you see the takeoff, the first sell-off, the bear trap, media attention, greed, illusion, all those phases. And if you look back historically, you can plot this chart basically on anything, on the stocks, on the .com bubble, on Bitcoin itself. The last cycle of 2017, you can place it about on everything. And if you look at the current cycle we're in, so this is now 2024, I don't feel like we're in this phase mania yet, in this mania phase where the public is anticipating. So far we had some nice rallies, for example the Rune coin or Render went times 5x, 4x where they are standing now, but from the beginning they already did a 10x, but the public is not really involved yet. Also, if I check my WhatsApp Messenger, which is a great meter of sentiment of the public, I don't see a lot of normal, quote unquote normal people texting me yet what to buy and what to do with crypto. So everything is pretty calm. Now, of course, WhatsApp isn't a great indicator in terms of quote-unquote statistics, because maybe I'm just living in a bubble with strange people around me. But if we look at something that's more useful, that's, for example, Google Trends. And when we look at this chart about Google Trends, you can see the interest over time of crypto and where we are now, and there's just little to no interest. We saw this little peak in March 17 this year, but you can clearly see we're not in a mania phase yet where everyone is involved and everyone and their mothers and their fathers is searching, and the grandpas and grandmas is searching on how to invest in crypto, except for little old ladies maybe, but those people aren't really on Google Trends because they already know what they're doing. But the public isn't really involved. So when we look at trends and niches, let's look at DeFi. DeFi, same story. You can see that really was a story of 2021 where we saw that big peak over here, but now it's just flatlined and going down still. So what is a niche? A niche is something that I feel like, and that's bigger than crypto. It's something that people are talking about on a day-to-day basis, and it doesn't have to be limited to crypto. So what is the niche of 2024 at the moment? I would say it would be AI. ChatGPT, OpenAI, cloud, all those investments that had something to do with AI already did well, and it's just taking over society little by little, day by day, and that's something you can also see in Google Trends. Here you can clearly see what it looks like when people are involved, when the public is involved in a niche or an ID. You can see that the interest for AI and searching information about it is clearly going up. So I want to invest in altcoins that have something to do with a niche, or that have the possibility to pivot towards a niche. What do I mean with that? A fine example is Akash or AKT. When they first came out, when they were doing the marketing, they were talking about being decentralized hosting, being a solution for people who wanted to, for example, host a WordPress website. Well, that's pretty cool, but that doesn't really get you attached to AI or some kind of niche. So when I joined the Discord and was talking with the founders basically, and other people as well, were noticing that they should make a pivot towards AI, because what's something that a niche needs. So you start with AI in the middle, and you're starting to think about ideas around AI. For example, computing power. That's something that you need when you're talking about AI. Computing power, that's something that Akash has pivoted to. They now are marketing themselves as basically an AI infrastructure layer. And I think that's pretty smart, and that's one of the reasons that we saw this big rise in the value of Akash as well, which already did a 10x as well. Unfortunately, that's one of the coins that I kind of sold way too early, because at 30 cents I felt like the fundamental value just wasn't there. I have to re-evaluate how they're doing. But we were in before 20 cents easily on Akash. And that was before the pivot. So unfortunately I missed the pivot there. But I think they did really well in pivoting into that. And I just like to see what the impact would be of the pivot. Because let's face it, in a mania phase and in a bubble phase, or just in some big interest peak, people don't really care much about the fundamentals of a crypto coin anymore, and everything will just float up. But the ones with a good niche, they will go up way more. But fundamentals just go right out of the window. But fundamentals is what we do want to focus on in these early stages, when we're picking our solution, we're composing our basket for this cycle. So what else? What is the goal of buying an altcoin? We can say we're in it for the technology, which sometimes really is the case. Sometimes I'm investing it because I'm thinking it's cool technology, and by putting some money into it, I'm forcing myself to keep up to date with the technology. But of course, in the end, we all are here to make some money, and hopefully use that money to make a positive impact on ourselves and the environment around us and the world. So that's what we're trying to do. One of the things that I also need to note is that during those mania phases, when you do see that we are in one, then it becomes really important that your plan is ready. And I'm recommending you to watch my video of last week, where I'm talking a little bit about that plan. But basically you want to have your chaos levels ready, something we talk about a lot in the TOI lounge, and you want to have your exit plan ready. When are you going to take profits? Why are you going to take profits? Yada yada yada. Okay, so now we know that we want something that has something to do with a niche, or something that we find very valuable for an infrastructure as a whole. One of those examples is Torchain, because I think it's a foundation, it's a bit of infrastructure, and I always like to own infrastructure, because Like during the gold rush, like my partner Brian always said, who were the ones making the most money of the gold rush? The people selling the spades to start digging for gold. So having the infrastructure, having the highway of crypto is always very valuable and interesting to me. Another thing that I'm looking at is the market cap. So when we look at market cap and we look at the stocks market cap, for example, you can see that Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Alphabet, Amazon, they're all ranked by market cap on this page. And Apple has 3.4 trillion market cap these days, which is an insane number. Of course, you can't 101 plot them to crypto and say, well, crypto is cheap, I should get some crypto. But at the same time, evaluating projects between each other based on market cap is very valuable. So for example, here we see that the market cap of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, of course Tether is not really an investment, it's just a stable coin. But it says something about the majority and the size of a project. And when I'm looking for projects, I'm not really that interested in the top 10 projects. I'm interested in the projects that I think have a chance to become a top 10 project, or at least do very well. But I take for granted they will still in the future remain a small project. One of those examples is the Hello token. I think the Hello token of Hello Labs is a token. It has a very small market cap. Let me quickly look. What is Hello sitting at? The market cap of 18 million, and this is fully diluted. This is also important to know. So their current market cap is 11 million, ranking them on spot 938 on CoinMarketCap, but the fully diluted market cap is 18 million. So what does it mean? What's the difference? Market cap and fully diluted market cap. The fully diluted market cap, geez, what a tongue breaker, is it's basically the value of the coin at the future. Basically when all coins are in circulation. So a lot of coins, of course, have a certain amount of coins out, but not all coins are tradable on the market. They are locked for another few years because there's a vesting schedule of investors, and they unlock over time. So don't be blind on just market cap, but also take in account the fully diluted market cap. And when something is below 20 million, I'm very much interested in checking out the project. And Hello Labs is one of our holdings. And I still think it will do well. Not because it has such great fundamentals, but because it has great Pumponomics. So yeah, that's something to look at. Of course, when it has a low market cap and it is not in the top 10 or top 100 or even top 250, that means there's probably some risk involved. And at the same time, high risk equals high growth potential, so high rewards. If something is a low market cap, I do want to check the history. How did it do last cycle? Is this a new project? Is this an old project? And ideally I have new projects, to be honest, when it's a really low market cap. So then how do you discover those projects? I look at various sources. ICOs, so initial coin offering announcements, IDOs, initial DEX offerings, community forums. Of course, a community like TOI is really helpful, but most picks, like for example a winner, I'm getting from my own network. And my network consists out of people I follow on X, but more friends around me that I have had around me for years now that are also in the crypto space, and local gatherings and local communities, and just people I talk with in real life or in virtual life. But I think those are the ones that giving me the most quote unquote tips and names for me to look into. So that's also one of the things. It's pretty hard when you start in crypto to find these gems, quote unquote, because on X, when you hear about them, chances are it's from an influencer that maybe even gets paid to talk about the coin, or he already has his bags filled and is now trying to pump his bags a little bit. But when time goes by and you're starting to see who the influencers are, who the honest people are, who the people are close to you or in a community that you can kind of trust with their advices because you have seen them over multiple cycles and you have seen how their ideas and how their thoughts have been playing out, then I think you're getting more and more in a quote-unquote luxury position to exchange ideas with these people and to get ideas from them. But like in business, it's about networking. So sorry about that, there's no shortcut there, although I try to get my tips as much as possible shared with the community. And one of those examples, of course, is Winner, which I also did a video about it 2 weeks ago. Go check it out. So yeah, the network is very important that you're surrounding yourself with. Social media plays a role. Of course, there are Telegram channels, paid Telegram channels, free Telegram channels. My experience with Telegram channels isn't that great, and I would be a bit cautious when a Telegram channel has 10, 20, 30,000 members and is showing some coin for sure. So when you're starting out, I would be more relying on, well, TY of course, but besides that on doing your research and thinking about what are emerging trends that I see in the world outside of crypto. Think about where we are in the cycle. Also make sure that you don't put all your eggs in a single basket. So if you think gaming is going to be big, which I think it will be growing over the coming years for sure, then just don't buy all gaming coins, but also get some exposure to other niches like that AI. So okay, so we have our niche, and we go to CoinMarketCap, and we can filter there on niche, at least when they already saw the niche as well. So here, for example, we can filter on AI, and we see all those tokens. Then the next task of vesting those tokens and doing our research is I'm looking at the team. So I'm doing a team evaluation. Are those people doxed, meaning do we know who they are in real life? And then when I do see a name and a picture, I'm also going to check their LinkedIn to see what did they do in the past. How long have they been in the space? Have they done other projects? I'm going to do a search on Google, on X, see how the other projects went, if they did other projects. Because it also gives you an idea about, are they in this for the long term, or is this a quick money grab? And if you see a team with no developers, that's suspicious. If you see a team with just developers, that's just as suspicious. I think that project can do fine, but in terms of marketing and getting the idea across the desk, it can be a little bit harder. But talking about developers, when I see developers, I'm trying to find, does this project has some development activity? And that development activity I try to gauge based on the interactions on X. So do I see developers taking questions, answering questions, and are there questions indeed somewhat technical in the explanations? But a better gauge even is going to their GitHub. So here we see the GitHub of Thorchain. What do we see here? And what do you want to look at? On the right you see the top languages. So you see Go, TypeScript, JavaScript, C, Vue. Now most projects that have something like Vue, that's a front-end language. That's not something you build a protocol with. So I mean, C is, Go is. You can do things with TypeScript and JavaScript, but I want to see different kind of languages being used in those repositories. And then when we go to repositories, you see here on the top it says repositories and then 13, meaning there are 13 repositories of this project. Now when we pick one, TorChain Explorer v2, I'm going to look at the contributors. Who are the contributors? And are those contributors the same people as the developers on the website? Or are these like community developers, people who are contributing from the community? Because that's even better if you have a big network of developers that's contributing to your project. Then I'm also going to do the same check on them as a team member. So I'm going to click their names and see what past projects they worked on and what kind of commits they're doing. And then overall you want to see that there's activity in the repository. So you don't want to see one big commit, and a commit basically is a piece of code that you push to a repository to be saved. But you don't want to see just one event. You want to see those events over time, just like you're seeing here. You can see activity every month for the past year here, and you can see a big ramp up starting in July. That has everything to do with the plans of TorChain and the further distribution and integrations they're doing. But that's what I want to see. I don't want to invest in a project that has no activity, already activity completely slowed down. I mean, for Bitcoin it kind of slowed down, but there's still actively commits being pushed on a weekly basis, I would say. But projects that had a big spike, for example last year, and then have nothing now except for some marketing tweets, that doesn't give me a lot of confidence, because let's face it, projects and developments are just never done. So you want to have a project ready when the cycle, the mania, the public is getting involved. But realistically, you will keep working on the project, making improvements. At least that's what I want to see when I'm investing in a project. Of course, tokenomics are very important. So let's take here a look at the white paper of Winner. Winner has a special website where they have the documentation and talking about Winner protocol. What is it? How do rewards work? How do fees work? How does governance work? All that kind of stuff you want to find in a white paper. And I don't really care if it's a fancy website or it's just a PDF download or a text file, but you want to see a plan on paper. If there's no white paper, it's probably a chance that this is just a copy-paste of some other project on GitHub, and they changed the name and launched a marketing website and try to do a quick money grab. Also, what I like to do is copy some text from the white paper and put it in an AI detection tool and see if this is AI generated or if it's man-made. Of course, these days it's hard to say, but it gives you an idea on how much effort is being put in the white paper, for example, and in the project in general. Going back to the niches I was talking about, and for example AI, something also important to think about is, does this project has first mover advantage, and or is it just another project that's better positioned, and is it competing against a project that's better positioned? For example, let's take a project that's saying, okay, we're offering decentralized GPU power and we are building some software that people can use for their 3D renders. That project will have a hard time competing with Render, for example, because they're already so deeply integrated in, for example, the Octane software, and they just had first mover advantage. At the same time, when they have a low market cap and they really are doing something unique, and they're also just being open, saying, well, what are we doing different compared to our competitors? And they have a low market cap, below like 20 million, I would still be very interested in the project because it will probably just lift on the shoulders of the big guys like Render in that niche. But just know that a niche and a market is only so big, and you can have 100 projects doing all the same thing. Then you're probably, in my opinion, better off just picking 1 or 2 or 3 projects of those 100 in a niche. Take one that you feel has a higher market cap, is higher on the list, but also has its act together already, like Render, and take one that's a lot lower, but is also actively developing and being honest about its competitor position. What can a project make it stand out besides technology? One of the big things is marketing efforts and community and project visibility. So if you go on X, you want to see the project tweeting, you want to see their investors tweeting, you want to see the community tweeting, you want to go on YouTube and you want to see the project more and more being talked about by these influencers, unfortunately. You just want to have those voices out there talking about the thing you want to invest into. Because if the public is coming online, they are not going to do the research with white papers and GitHub and talking with different communities and people around them. No, they are just going to open YouTube, see the first 5 crypto videos and see what the talking heads are talking about. And then they are going to invest their money. But then we of course already have our 10x and we already have taken our profits off the table. So you wanna see a lot of messages going out from the community about how great the project is, but you also want to feel and get a sense of how toxic those messages are. If it's just like, well, render number 1, render to the moon, that's great, but it only has a limited lifespan, and then just the interest wears off. So it's better if you have a project that keeps developing new stuff and people can say, okay, we're getting an integration with this crypto wallet and we are going live on this podcast next week and this is happening and this is happening, so that you get a constant stream of new things that are happening. Because like I said, the lifespan of, oh, we are going to be number 1 and everything is going to the moon is very, very limited and only really works for a short period of time. Understanding the market phase we're in, again, is critical and very important. This is the period you want to do your investments, you want to do your research, not in the bull cycle. In the bull cycle, you want to be focused on, okay, how is this project going? Should I take profits already? Can I quickly rotate them in something else that's now lagging in my crypto investments, but I still see a good future for. That's what you want to do in the bull market and in the mania phase, but not right now. Because remember, those niches, they will pop one by one and they probably won't all go up 200% at the same time, but kind of follow each other. Of course, everything will pop and go up a little bit at the same time, but you still see some kind of like flows, and you can see the money flowing from one niche and one narrative to the other. And that's when you want to have your emotional responses in check, and don't want to add to the position that's already flying. Just add to the position you were fundamentally convinced of and you did your research on, and that's where you want to put the money in when it isn't flying yet. That of course has everything to do with risk management, and the importance of your research. What else? Long-term perspective. For example, I have exposure to Bitcoin, but that's not the Bitcoin OGs that I think will get me a 10x this cycle. At the same time, it's a perfect place for me to park some profits, to see it as a long-term investment. Like if I would be buying Bitcoin now, which I don't because I bought the Bitcoin below 30,000 and I'm waiting, if you'll get again at 35,000, 37,000, I will consider buying again. But now I only took profits. But Bitcoin is one of those things that if I'm buying it and it goes down, totally fine by me. Because long term, I do believe it will go up. But it's just not something I'm doing extra research on, or I'm trying to get the next 10x timed up on. That's more for altcoins. Bitcoins and Ethereum for me is more like a quote-unquote safe haven, tier 1 coins. That's where I'll stash some profits for the long term maybe, but not at the current price levels, although I think Ethereum is still kind of interesting. So to recap, do your own research, of course. Involve yourself, get involved with a community and friends and like-minded people around yourself, because the community and your network is just so strong, and here 1 + 1 = 3 is definitely the case. So come join TRI if you haven't already, and get to know the great community that we have, and exchange tips and let other people do the research for you. And that sounds a little bit strange, but do your own research first, then say and ask people, what do you think of this coin? I found this in my research. Do you agree? And then people are more likely and interested to help you out and share their research, and just have a sparring partner in this research period that we are still in, I think. Then combine it with some awesome TA of our level 1 program, level 2 or level 3 program, which is starting the 16th of September, by the way, again. And just make sure you have your TA tools ready for entry and profit taking. I will do a special video about profit taking later on, and there are just the conclusion, I think, of this talk is there are a lot of things you should check on altcoins. I've composed a list of 100 things. I will put a link down below this video description, and I will share it in our community. Maybe grab it and get some inspiration from it. And I would say pick your top 20 of things from that list that you maybe didn't think of, and apply them to your next research for a project. And let me know how it goes. Thank you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye!